Welcome to Subramani. Uh, I did one post saying why index funds will work. Now I'll give you enough number of reasons why you should be investing in an index fund. So let us take the typical case of a successful cardiologist or a lawyer or a chartered accountant or an architect. These are professionals whose main source of income will always be their profession, right? So whether you're an employee heading pharmaceutical research in Glaxo, or whether you are an employee handling IT in Geo, it doesn't really matter. That is going to be your professional. It doesn't really matter because that is where your main income is going to come from, at least for the first 10-15 years of your life or of your career. Let's say from the age of 25 till the age of 40, from this is where the main money is going to come from, with which you will live your life, you will pay your taxes, you will take your vacations, you will buy a house, buy cars, educate your children and invest, right? That investment has to work well and give you a good return. So what are the important things in investing? You should not lose money. That is very important. And secondly, you should not forget rule number one, as Buffett would have said. Far more importantly, you should not give away loans to friends or invest in a startup which you don't understand. These are not for you. These are not meant as a investment. If you gift, it is different. Your brother wants to start a business, you have enough money, so you give him something. That's a gift. Don't treat it as an investment because there will be disappointment. So what is the best thing to do? One, accept very quickly in life that to make money you need to control your ego, and one very good ego control is by saying I will put money in an index fund. Why? Because many doctors think, oh, I'm so smart that I qualified to be a doctor, I'm a surgeon, so I cannot do dumb things like putting money in an index. It is for dumb people, right? So yes, when Mr. Parag Parikh or late Parag Parikh said don't put money in an index, you can manage and get better returns on your own. Yes, he was right. So is Shankar Sharma. That is absolutely so is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, so is Vallabh Bansali. But please, for heaven's sake, don't put yourself in that outlier level. They are good fund managers, great fund managers, right? They have created wealth for themselves, they've created a lot of wealth for themselves, and they've created wealth for their customers. There is no doubt about that. Though Rakesh is more in the investor space than in the investment manager space, which the other three are, or at least were. So now if you are a successful guy who is starting to invest and do not wish to invest too much time and effort in choosing which stock to buy or and which mutual fund to buy, and you don't know to do it yourself, then you're much better off with an index rather than hiring somebody who will tell you what to do for a fee and take away all the alpha in the fee. Then the purpose is lost of having a person who is doing that for you. So largely investing in an index fund or an index fund allocator which allocates between various countries. So you have a global asset allocator which says, okay, I'll put 20% in US, 30% in Japan, 20% in Asia, ex-Japan, some money in Europe and some money in India. One global fund which may not be investing in India, and one India fund. This is good enough for you for all your equity requirements. So if you put 70% in an Indian index, or even an Indian index allocator which puts some money in an Indian large cap index and a mid cap index and a small cap index, or three funds where you're putting 50 or 50 is too high, maybe 40, 30 and 20, or sorry, 40, 30, 10 or something like that, and putting 30% in a global allocator of index of various countries, you're very well off for say 70% of your total, right? And 20-30% you put in debt when you are older. This combination will work better than trying to pick up equity stocks and equity funds. But having done this, you could still pick up one equity stock every year, more for having fun and creating wealth also, because some companies can never be touched by the index. So for covering those companies, this is a very comprehensive plan which I have given you in a short capsule. Now the question is, what are the advantages of investing in an index fund? One, when you are a successful professional, realizing that most of your goals can be met very easily because of your income, and to preserve wealth and grow wealth at a reasonable pace, an index fund is more than enough. This covers about 99% of the world's population. The 1% who thinks that their lifestyle is going to change because of investing, or maybe 2% who thinks because their lifestyle is going to change because of investing, is a different thing. Take India. Less than 3% of our population invests in equities. So where is the percentage which we are talking about? It's a minuscule number. So what are the advantages? First, when you are investing over 50, 60, 70 years, you will get better performance in an index fund than you can get in a fund that you pick up, because you have to constantly pick up good funds, because the fund manager will change, the fund manager can die, the fund manager can leave, the fund manager can underperform, the fund manager can take a call which you do not like. Right now, if you see Naren, Prashant, Anand Radhakrishnan have all taken a heavy PSU oriented view. You may not like that view, right? And if they have underperformance for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, what do? Do you get out, or you say no, reversion to mean will happen, these are good fund managers? When do you pull the plug? You do not know these things. So you're better off with an index fund, no using of brain, simple 2-3 index funds. You just go put monthly, on a monthly basis. You start at the age of 0. If your parents have started it for you, you continue at the age of 22 the thing which your parents have started, or you start investing at 22. Even if you're a doctor, you can start investing by 24, 25, because you start getting a stipend. Start with 500 rupees, doesn't matter. Making the start is important. So first, I digress. So first is, you definitely get better performance on a consistent basis over a long period of time. There will be times when you think, oh, this fund manager is beating. Sometimes you will feel that another fund manager beating, especially in countries like India, where there will be very many people who beat. But when you have a market going up one way because of one share, like a Reliance or an HDFC, those times it's impossible for the active fund manager to beat the index. So you are better off during all such times. So of course there will be this concentration risk where 15% is in Reliance. When it falls, you will underperform, but you live with that. Definitely investing in index funds requires no brains. It requires very little time and effort to find out. So you can go to the cheapest, well managed, or the lowest tracking error index fund, could even be an ETF, and that's it. You don't have to do anything. Why I don't like an ETF is it requires active management. You have to decide when to buy, how much to buy. Whereas in an SIP, you can just put away 10 lakhs per month if you want, or 1 crore per month if you want. Index funds are large enough to absorb that kind of an inflow, and so you will be better off doing the SIP in an index fund rather than ETF of an index fund. So don't do ETF index fund, because it is going to involve some effort on a monthly basis, right? So this is going to be less time consuming, less effort consuming. You do not need an advisor, so which means you can go direct, and definitely it is less risky. When the market goes down, this will go down, but very, very nicely, when the market goes up, this will go up. There are times when it happens that when the market goes down, your fund goes down, but when the market goes up, it doesn't go up, or doesn't go up at that speed. Obviously, fairly obvious that the cost of doing this is, because there is no intermediary involved, the cost will definitely be less. From a tax point of view, you may want to put some money in an ELSS, but today there is school fees and PPF and all, which take away that 1.5 lakh. So I don't see the need for ELSS for a person who is anyway indexing. So, and it is easier to build a portfolio with index funds, and it is hugely, every fund house has one, so you don't have a problem. You will definitely not have any sector bias, factor bias, or anything like that, and there will be no regret, oh, I didn't invest in pharma, I didn't invest in technology. If you want to do that on the periphery. 90% of your money goes into all this, then 10% of your money you can require for other things. Thank you.